This is the mixer window. So when you come in the mornings, you load this uh, session, this show. This is what it will look like. If you were there Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon watching the overview, you'll notice this a little bit different. Uh, so no more just plain DCAs. You just have band minus keys, band, vocals, vocal effects, and rooms. Right now, your room mics, the ambient like room mics, the crowd mics, those are not hooked up at the moment. But when those do get hooked up, that's what this will be. So you have a more live feel to the broadcast mix. Band minus keys. So if you need a refresher or if you weren't there, all this is this DCA includes all the band minus the keys. And then band includes everything, including the keys. So what this is useful for is towards the end of the service, like towards the end of the worship set, when the pastor is coming up, you can start fading this down, and your keys will stay at a good volume, and you'll have that. And if the keys aren't, if the keys are too loud still, you can still come over here and move the band down, and then that'll start moving the. I just noticed that that's moving that down. I'll fix that. And let's see. We can fix that by coming over here and changing the link. It shouldn't be in any of these. There we go. It should be in 3. Yep. And that should be in 3. There we go. Alright. So if you saw how I did that, you can click on each channel and go over to channel, and you'll see the link, which the link is DCA. You have your mute groups right there. You have where your groups are and where your matrices are. All right. Now, but you have the where you can move this down, and it'll move the keys down. And of course, this is the vocal effects. You have kick in, snare, tom 1, and overheads. The overheads are grouped together, so that is left and right channel on a stereo channel. You'll see I have the toms panned a little bit, but not too much. If you see right here, these are the inserts, so these are the plugins that are on each input. So you have kick in, and that's what is on the kick in input. And you see it changed up here. So mixer 1. And then we can see what we have on tom 2. And so you can change what you're looking at right here. So you can go through the channels. All right. So if we go over to the guitars page, you'll notice the lead 1 mic and the lead 2 mic and the DCAs are left. So this is the same across every single page. That way, you'll always have your 2 lead mics and your DCAs right there. Always. So you have guitars. Of course, you have your bass. So what's going on here is this is kind of an Eddie Van Halen effect. So in the studio world, there's a technique where you use one guitar and use two signals for it, and you pan one to the left and pan the second channel to the right and slightly delay the second channel behind the first channel. So what that'll do is, if you need, you can typically run your lead guitarist up at this volume, or however loud you need it. But if you want to add some space, some like a nice effect to it without using a bunch of reverb, you can move this up, and it'll give you a little bit of space, so it'll sound like a bigger room that the guitar is playing in. And that's the same for both channels. So actually this one should be the one that's down, and then that one should be up, since that one's in the right channel. And you can just kind of play with that, and depending on how each guitar player is playing, you can play with that effect right there, and it'll really fill the room. Then you have the acoustic guitar. Come over here to keys. So left and right keys. The reason that these are not grouped together is because the way the channel layout went, it didn't. The channels have to be lined up next to each other for the stereo to be grouped together. So that's why those are separate. You have pad, keys 2, which is just coming through mono. You have your tracks, your main tracks, channel left and right, loop, background vocal loop, sub loop, and again, your lead and DCAs remain there. Your vocal channel, you have background vocalists 1 through 5, and then you have your lead and DCA still. If you'll notice, there is quite a few plugins on each channel. This is your waves tune. Y'all are familiar with that. This is primary source expander, so this is kind of like a gate. SSL channel, a doubled compressor. So these two are important to have that creates a sidechain compression effect. Then you have sibilants to tame the S's. All right, then you have host. So host will have pastor mic, so pastor headset, host 1 handheld, host 2 handheld, and the guest headset. Since I'm using this on my computer, these are active on y'all's end, so ignore that. I don't have the licenses for those. All right, flip over here to verb, and then we have the verb auxiliaries. You really don't have to mess with that much since you have the DCA, but you can still come over here and mess with this because this is, your Vox Hall and Vox Slap. Obviously, this is moving both. So you might find yourself over here a little bit. The Vox Slap is made to not really be a long delay, but a delay enough of an effect to add some depth to the overall mix. That's the instrument verb right here. You typically don't have to run that super hot because most of the instruments do have reverb on it already, like keys and guitar. You'll find yourself using this probably more for acoustic over anything else. Kit verb, I find that it is nice to run a good bit of this, just so it doesn't make the, especially since you're not running room mics right now, you'll want to use a little bit of this because it'll add some depth to the drums and not sound so dry. And the reverb is on, click that. I can do, there we go. So effects. So it's on everything except the overheads, because it would, the cymbals would just crowd the reverb space right there. MD Talkback, I left this here. This will be future. We can get Talkback mics hooked up and back there for you, where you can use a Talkback mic and then also be able to hear Talkback from the front of house. Masters, again, these remain the same. So you have Q. This is what your volume is. So what is coming out of the speakers. This is that adjustment. You'll notice that on the little fader MIDI controller that you have, your master, the red master fader right there, controls this. That's because your to web mix, what is going to broadcast, you do not want to change. You always want this to remain at unity. And this wave's loudness meter, you should be hitting around between -20 and -14 on your long term. So your goal is LUF's -14 on this is your goal. So you can view that by waves loudness meter. But this should always stay at unity, because if you change this is going to change what broadcast video is receiving, and you'll have an inconsistent mix from week to week if this gets changed. You can change this, of course. I mean, this is your volume. I find you still don't even really need to, because you have the big knob, the actual volume knob physically right there, so you can change your volume. But, of course, that's there for if you need to adjust it there as well. Yeah, if you find your mix is too loud or too low, just don't resort to this first. You'll want to resort to your DCAs and your overall mix, because chances are you just got something too hot. Like your kick may be too loud, or a vocal might be peaking that you don't realize. So just go through your mix and fix that first before changing this, because this really should be a last resort. And the same can be said for video side. Video side should be at unity as well. And that way you're always getting a consistent mix. But as far as these go, I don't have this plugin as well, but this is your compression on the master fader. So this is a mastering chain, and then that's the compressor that's on it. So that'll be helping tame everything. I don't have the groups on here, because the groups, you can still come out of custom layer view and come back to the groups and look to see what's going on here. But you really don't have to change the groups at all. I mean, they're just kind of there to help compress everything together and create a cohesive glue. You'll see that NLS is on everything, so it's the same chain, SSL comp, this is with an NLS bus, and that's just giving it the same kind of treatment on everything. And then you'll see that we got the drums, and then the drum smash, which the drum smash is just hey, going back to Eddie Van Halen again. It's probably a familiar sound to everyone, but the way the drums sound compressed and like roomy and stuff, that's what we send a drum smash through. So you can come through here and adjust that. But chances are you really don't have to. mean, you got, I found mixing with this type of layout right here, you're really just mixing, this DCA and mixing vocal DCA and just kind of moving up and down with the way the mix is flowing, the way the song is flowing. I think that's everything. A big part of something new, and this is completely different. I forgot all about this when trying to show you everything this past Sunday. But this right here, you'll have scenes. So all these scenes will be doing is changing this one plugin for the vocal channels. So all it's doing is recalling the key of the auto-tune plugin. Because who wants to go through, 7 vocals and change the auto-tune to the correct key? We would forget it, right? Like, I know I would forget it. So what we do here is, as you'll see, you don't want to save over any of these because these are the keys. So, like, we can recall A, and if we go to the channel, it's an A, and the correction is on. We go to auto-tune off, recall, corrections off. And that's important because when you have your lead vocalist or even one of the background mics talking, you want to have the auto-tune off because the talking won't sound great through the auto-tune, but the singing will. So what you do is, so say the first song is in A, we'll recall A, go down here, so see, don't edit or delete above, start at setlist 18, so number 18, auto-tune off. So you really don't have to start over that because that's already saved to auto-tune off. But so A, we have that selected and recalled. We want to save that to song 1. You'll click store, selected. And then there, recall. Correction on, key of A. So we can do recall, correction off, song 1, correction on, and key of A. Song 2, I believe I already saved something in. Yep, key of E. Auto-tune off. So like mid-worship set, worship leader talk, that type of thing. You want to auto-tune off. All right, going into song 3 is key of F. We got it on. And what's great about this isn't changing your faders. This is literally only changing that plugin. So you can keep changing back and forth as long as they're not like mid-singing. Then you can just change back and forth as needed. So that's what's great about this flow with using it like this, where your scenes are only doing that, because during the broadcast mix, you're really not changing a lot of the way the mix sounds. Because, like, minor movements changes the volume because your studio, you're not having a mix for a room. So that's right there. All right, so each one is within a session, though. So we have Cornerstone Fall 2023 is what you'll see. You can come over here and load that. You want to save the current session. I would not save over it. All right, so if you get this, you'll want to use session. All right. So the session is loaded, and we have the scenes. There is, I don't think I can show you, but on the board there is, I did hotkey 3 buttons for next scene and previous scene. I forgot what I did the third button with, but the first 2 are next and previous, and I'll try to get a picture of that. But that should be it. So as you'll see right here, it's the next scene button is the play, previous is the stop, and this LR plugin right here loads that plugin that I was talking about. Let's see if I can get to it. It loads this loudness meter plugin right here. And you'll see it on your right screen. It'll pop up on your right.